try it. We will try it.
Good luck and have fun. You're gonna need it.
Gotta get a new mouse pad. This one's, or I gotta clean this one. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo.
Not the pros.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. Cyber core is needed for shield battery. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll rewind it. I'll explain this one. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what's going on. So in the beginning of PvT, one of the things I do at times is put a little bit of pressure to your Terran opponent. A Terran player usually likes to go for like the macro, goes for that macro style play. The 1-1-1 is usually the most practical Terran build of choice that they like to do. They like to go for a Widowmine drop, or they'll like to do some type of like a medevac marine drop. They like to do a nice good medevac marine tank push in the front, walk through with an expansion. So their natural is their most comfort intro. If you can't get the natural yet, then you can't go attack, because I need the natural as a Terran player, in most cases as a standard player. So Terrans don't really have the want or the desire to go out and scout at times, because they all try to go for the optimal macro. And optimal macro is okay, but sometimes it hurts you, because optimal means that you're not going to go scout, or you're not going to send any SCVs, or you're not going to send as many until you get into it too late. You know, he should be sending an SCV back and forth in the beginning of the game, just to make sure that there's no shenanigans going on, or send an SCV early on to go scout my base to make sure I'm not going for a cannon rush. So that's a Terran's choice, and most choices, the Terran's going to go for the macro. They don't feel like it's beneficial for them to do it, because not everybody goes for Forge, so they're going to feel like they're behind if they're not macroing with all the SCVs in the beginning instead of scouting for like a high regression build, or even scouting at all. So there's that situation that if you're doing that as a Terran, then the next time that you're going to come down here usually is to build a command center. To build a command center usually is right after the barracks is done. So this actually hits a little bit before that. So you're hitting like a nice little sweet spot between his visibility down to the bottom and his vulnerability at the top. Now, first going in and looking like a normal gateway scout, and gateway scout, you have to make sure that you're doing what you should be doing. If you're scouting, if you're a macro scouter, then the Protoss probe, the probe at this time is gonna harass the SCV, and then try to run around, and then try to like mess up the mining, sometimes the minerals, and then keep nibbling, right there. It's the pesky probe. Because for a macro player, as a Protoss player, you don't have anything to harass your opponent, and because of that, your probe is your harassing unit. Like, your probe is your early zealot rush, or your early intro cannon rush, in a sense. Like, for macro, they don't have anything. It's gonna be your probe. So if you're over there not doing what probes usually do, as in being a pesky probe, then you might look like a cannon rusher to somebody. You're like, well, this guy's not poking at my SCV, he's walking around looking suspicious. And so there you go, like, okay, well then he's most likely cannon rushing. But if you go nibble, and then he goes and does his little thing, right? You do something to hit his next chord. His next chord is to send an SCV to that probe, so that the other SCV can finish the barracks, right? And then the probe runs around. That's the next play. You gotta act like that play. So there goes the nibble. There goes the SCV. And then there goes the follow-up, right? So there goes my probe pylon. This is my probe. And then what I do is I attack the SCV right here. What that attack does is it creates attention to your... Oh shoot, I'm playing Phantom to everybody. Whoopsie. Let's see. Sorry, Phantom. They're like, who's this guy? Yeah, I did it again. I just saved it right now. It still goes. Okay, did it go back? I have the most trouble on that thing. Yeah, don't get scared of that game, but be scared. Okay, so the nibbling right here pretty much says, hey, I'm nibbling, so you should go over here and check. So if I look at his vision should be right here, right? And guess what? His vision doesn't see anything wrong. Still, like, oh, well, it's just a pesky probe. He zapped me, so I'm gonna attack him, and so my vision's gonna be good. And so because it's here and not here, he doesn't see the cannons, right? He doesn't see the cannons, and having the cannons right there a little bit too long kind of hurts the Terran. So all these little key things really help you sell the cannons a lot better by doing the pesky probe, coming over here, zapping the probe when you're ready to cannon, make the cannons. And then the other thing is this: why am I over here with my probe? The reason why I'm over here with my probe is because there's two type of Terran players. There's a type of Terran player that likes to send his SCVs all over to attack and counter the cannons, and there's the SCVs that don't move a muscle. They just keep mining. And so your probe is here to identify what kind of characteristic you're playing, what kind of person you're playing. You're playing the person that's very very macro intensive. He's like, oh no, I can still deal with it. I'm not gonna send my SCVs out. Okay, I know what kind of player you are. But this one indeed was the reactionary. The oh shit, I gotta go over there and go take that out. So some people, they have their decisions of some, they think it's better to go harass and deny it, and then some, they just say no, I'm just gonna keep doing what I do. Shit, he's canning. I have a game plan. It's gonna be a little behind than what I'm used to, but I have a game plan. So it just depends. There's two different types of game plans: fight or flight. So there he goes. He's like, oh shit. Now he pulled the SCVs. I think it's because he thought the pylons were gonna go up already. So he thought probably, oh, wait, there's no pylon yet. So I was gonna deny everything that was gonna be here. He's trying to wall for his life. You know, he's trying to wall. He's like, is this a wall? That's not a wall. Sadly. Like, oh, now that's a wall now. Now, this pylon, I didn't really need this pylon. This pylon is really not really anything important. But the Terran player thinks that I'm a cannon rusher, right? And if I'm going to make him think I'm a cannon rusher, then the concept is that the cannon rushers have nothing in the brain. There's no noggin down there. It's like, it's empty. Boop, boop, boop. You know? Oh, shit. Oh shit, see what happens. Oh man, this guy. Okay, so they don't think that we have really much of a brain. See his ass come over here, talk some shit. Okay, so this pylon right here is pretty much just for just reaction that he thinks, oh okay, he's gonna go commit. He doesn't have any other thing but commit. If he's a cannon rusher, if he cannon rushes and doesn't do this, he's gonna lose. I'll be able to get the head start. So this really kind of gets the SCVs rattled. I steal the gas. Why do I steal the gas? The reason why I steal the gas is because if you steal the gas, then your Terran player is going to have a hard time getting a lot of Vikings and a lot of Cyclones or Medevacs and Vikings, because the gas is very hard on one gas. So you take the gas right there after you're doing this, then you're really weakening that, you know, that composition that they need versus a proxy like a pressure build. And so that's why the gas is being stolen right here. Now this right here is distraction. I already rustled up some nerves, and I think I can rustle up a little bit more reaction Um, so I come in and just start making some pylons right here. Now he did kill the probe, but it's alright. I really didn't want to do anything over here other than like create a reaction. Now this probe right here is gonna get the vision from the high ground. Then the Zealot comes in. The Zealot replaces the probe, because that's by the time that happens, 3 Marines will be up and you'll be able to get sniped as a probe. So you don't want to lose your probe. So this is just a temporary to get the switch. That's to keep the cannons up. I know. Oh man. And so now that I'm making a Zealot, I'm taking the place. There's not enough time for the Marines to kill the cannons. And then I got the high ground, right? So as this opener, you get the really good way of keeping the Terran from getting an expansion quicker. You are a bit late as your expansion, but it's a different type of playstyle. It's a different game. You're not expecting a macro. You're expecting to just like, you know, stay within your means and keep putting pressure while you're doing a really good containment. Because this what this build particular is. This particular build is a containment build. Now he's gonna have to get a factory. Some people already get a factory really quick, so it just depends on the player. And some go cyclones, some go tanks. So that's also depends on the players. Yeah. You always get about two battery shields. 2 battery shields will keep the base up long enough to be able to get the void raid in time. So the void raid, you need to get the void raid, right? The void raid comes in, snipes the tank or pushes the tank off. The tank has a little bit of time to kill all this, but not enough time because you have 2 battery shields. You get me? Timing. He goes Marauders. I got a Stalker. He got and the Stalker's coming in with the battery shield, so we're gonna be able to sustain the battery shield. Yeah. Now there goes the tank, right? Now his is a little delayed than most because he reacted instead of not reacting and going straight to a factory. So his tank is a little bit late. My Stalkers are not going to be over there to do damage. The Stalkers are just to kind of hold this line for the Marines and Cyclones to not come out. And you get the Void Raid. And then you get the Fleet Beacon. See how the battery shield's holding up? The tanks are too slow right now. You could make an adept if you wanted to. The first Stalker, instead of a Stalker, you could make an adept. I made a Stalker because it was a Marauder, and the Marauder was gonna be long range. So that's why I made the Stalkers instead. I was like, okay, it'd be better. But the adept can shade in and get the high ground vision if the tank is there and you want to get that extra DPS from the cannons. But with the 2 battery shields, your void raid comes out in time. Hey, what up, Aerial Ace? Oh, thank you so much, man. Ariel, 9 months. Appreciate it. Yeah, there goes the tank. The tank couldn't get there, and you don't make any more void raids. You can make 2, but usually I don't because Tempest is the next one, right? So then the Tempest comes in, and you battery shield this area, and you contain them while you get your expo right here. With this base right here, you're gonna be able to recall most of your probes. I would recommend you right when you get the base to recall all your mineral line probes over to the new base. That way you can start pumping new ones over here. But if there's a situation, there's a timing that the Liberator comes in, as a Terran player, Liberator, you could choose a 1-1-1 build while you do this harass, right? And then the Liberator comes over and tries to like siege your minerals. So instead of like having to worry about all that stuff too early, you could always just recall it all the way over here, not worry about that at all, or worried about it sniping too many pros without you catching it in time. So then you keep them safe because your Tempest will be here, your cannons, your batteries will be here, and your Nexus will be here. So all this will be defended. This will be your like your new base area, which is the harassing area. It's a pretty good build. Um, just explaining it. Hope you guys like it. GG. Yeah, the tuning ports, he had no choice. I mean, he had a choice, right? He could have lifted the barracks a little bit and then just not. But I think the problem is that he's not sure what it is. He's like, no, I got to have the barracks up because I got to keep the wall. I got to keep the wall. He might go at depths or I don't know what he's doing. That's the problem. He doesn't know. Guess why? Because he didn't scout. If you don't scout early on, yeah, you got to do some type of move for yourself, or you got to make sure you're not overreacting. Yeah, yeah. I think the best one so far is when you don't react as much. You lift the barracks away, you get a factory, and you go cyclones. And with the cyclones, then you can try to go maybe Cyclone Viking, or you can go something. But cyclones have been probably one of the good ones versus me, but I've dealt with them enough to kind of explore my side versus the cyclones. So right now, the only thing that is always a little tricky, but it's always weird too, is when I get nuked. When they nuke that spot, is always a weird one on both sides. It makes it weird for both players. But I like when they nuke. I'm like, oh shit, all my cannons got taken down. But at the same time, he went nukes, so it slows him down. So there's that, there's that back and forth. Do you think Cyclone Fits is better than Tank Burst? Yes, I think so, because I go straight for the Void Raid. So if you think that the tank is going to just clear that out, the Void Raid is going to push you away. And then you're like, shit, now I need Cyclones. And then wouldn't you have rather got two Cyclones instead of a tank and a Cyclone? I would have been like, well, damn, I should have went Cyclone first. Got the, what do you call it? What do you call that thing? That I don't even know Terran stuff, but that prismatic alignment. You get the prismatic alignment with the enough Cyclones, you can really do damage. Now, I did say that this build is a containment build, right? Well, that's the reason, right? It's a containment build because of the Cyclone play. If a player goes Cyclone play, then that's the reason why you do containment. You're not going to go out and do pushing. You're just going to starve them out. You do a starve out build. And that's going to push the Cyclones to go down the ramp instead of you having to go up to his base while he's up in his base, right? So it's a different play style, but it's to counter the Cyclone play, because Cyclone play is a good play. I don't think that the tank play is really good. Honestly, I get a lot of players, I read chat and they're like, oh, tanks, you didn't get tanks. Actually, it's Cyclone's probably the most best one so far. Best chance, because tanks don't shoot good when it comes to air. They don't shoot air. And Vikings, they can only do so much. So if you think you're going Vikings, that's why it's a containment, because I don't move out of my cannons and battery shields. The Vikings will have no chance to like really commit and try to snipe a unit, because if they commit, then the cannons attack them. So it's it's a weird back and forth, but I think I figured out at least my side of my role more than them. That's for sure.